वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। नत्वा श्रीभारती तीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरौ अधीमहे पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये।
धीमहि पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये।
द्वैतविवेकप्रकरणे एकोनविंशतितमः श्लोकः। मायाभृत्यात्मको हीशसङ्कल्पः साधनं जनो
मायावृत्त्यात्मको हीशसङ्कल्पः साधनं तौ
मनोवृत्त्यात्मको जीवसङ्कल्पो भोगसाधनम्।
मनोवृत्त्यात्मको जीवसङ्कल्पो भोगसाधनम्।
ईश निर्मितमन्यादौ वस्तुं एकविधे स्थिते।
ईशनिर्मितमन्यादौ वस्तुं एकविधे स्थिते।
भोक्तृधीवृत्तिना तद्भोगो भगुधेष्यते।
भोक्तृधीवृत्तिना तद्भोगो बहुधेष्यते।
हृष्येत्येको मणिं लब्ध्वा क्रुध्यत्यन्यो ह्यलाभतः।
हृष्यत्येको मणिं लब्ध्वा क्रुध्यत्यन्यो ह्यलाभतः।
पश्यत्येव विरक्तोऽत्र हृष्यति न कुप्यति।
पश्यत्येव विरक्तोऽत्र न हृष्यति न कुप्यति।
ईश कार्यं जगत्, ईश कार्यम् इदं जगत्, ईश सृष्टम् इदं द्वैतं जगत्, जीवभोग्यं भवति। ईश्वरेण सृष्टं द्वैतम् इदं जगत् जीवेन, जीवानां कृते भोग्यं, जीवेन भोगं कर्तुं योग्यं भवति। अतः जगत् द्वाभ्यां समन्वितम् इति पूर्वं दृष्टवन्तः। ईशकार्यं जगत् भोग्यं, जगत् द्वाभ्यां समन्वितं। यथा पितृजन्या पुत्री पितृजन्या योषित तत्र भोग्या भवति तद्वत् इति। अतः ईश कार्यं जीवभोग्यम् इति। जीवेश्वरयोः जगत् सृष्टेः किं साधनम् इति पृच्छेत्। जगत् सृष्टौ किं साधनम् ईश्वरस्य तथा जीवस्य, जीवेश्वरयोः। मायावृत्त्यात्मकः, मायावृत्ति आत्मकः स्वरूपकः, मायावृत्त्यात्मकः मायावृत्ति विशेष रूपः ईश्वर संकल्पः, तदेव जगत् उत्पत्तेः साधनं भवति। ईश्वरस्य जगत् सृष्टेः साधनं किम्? ईश्वर संकल्पः, मायावृत्त्यात्मकः ईश्वर संकल्पः साधनं, साधनं भवति। जनौ उत्पत्तौ, जगतः उत्पत्तौ। जीवस्य जगत् सृष्टेः द्वैत जगत्, द्वैतं जगत्, जीवस्य सृष्टम् इदं द्वैतम् इति पूर्वम् उक्तं। जगत् द्वैतं जगत्, जगत् सृष्टेः जीवस्य किं साधनं, किं साधनम् इति पृच्छेत्। मनोवृत्त्यात्मकः, मनोवृत्तिस्वरूपात्मकः जीवसङ्कल्पः एव जगतः, जगतः भोगाय साधनं भवति। भोगसाधनं जीवानां कृते जगत् भोगाय साधनं भवति, मनोवृत्त्यात्मकः जीवसङ्कल्पः इति। अतः ईश्वरस्य ज्ञानं मायावृत्तिरूपम्, ईश्वरस्य ज्ञानं मायावृत्तिरूपं, जीवस्य मनोवृत्तिरूपम्। ईश्वर संकल्प, संकल्प ऑफ ईश्वरा इज थ्रू मायावृत्ति, संकल्प ऑफ जीवा इज थ्रू मनोवृत्ति। ईश्वर संकल्प is the sadhanam for the people, साधनम जनौ, जगत जगतः जनौ अथवा जगतः उत्पत्तेः ईश्वर संकल्पः साधनं भवति। जीव संकल्पः is to convert the पदार्थ, ईश्वर सृष्ट पदार्थ, ईश्वर सृष्टम इदं द्वैतम into a भोग्य वस्तु, a भोग्य पदार्थ through the karma of the previous janma. Therefore, Jiva Sankalpa is Bhoga Sadhanam. Ishvara Sankalpa is Jagat Utpattehe Sadhanam. Jagat Utpattehe Ishvara Sankalpaha Sadhanam Bhavati. Jagataha Bhogaya Jivanam Sankalpaha Sadhanam Bhavati. Ishvarena idam nirmitam katam bhogyatva akaraha भवति। स्वरूप अतिरिक्तः ईश्वरेण निर्मितात् स्वरूप वस्तुस्वरूपात् अतिरिक्तः भोग्यत्व आकारः न विद्यते कथ अथवा कथं विद्यते इति पृच्छेत्। ईश्वरेण निर्मितात् वस्तुस्वरूपात् अतिरिक्तः भोग्यत्व आकारः अस्ति इति अग्रिमश्लोकेन उक्तमस्ति। ईश निर्मित उदाहरणेन उदाहरणसहितम् ईश्वरेण निर्मितानि मण्यादौ मणि आदौ आदिपदात् अन्यवस्तूनि अपि ईश्वरेण निर्मितानि मणि आदीनि वस्तूनि यद्यपि एकविधे स्थिते यद्यपि एक प्रकाराणि ईश्वरेण सृष्ट निर्मितानि वस्तूनि यद्यपि एक प्रकाराणि भवन्ति तथापि भोक्तृदिवृत्ति नानात्वात् भोक्तृ कः भोक्ता जीवः जीवस्य दिवृत्ति बुद्धिवृत्ति बुद्धेः वृत्तिभेदात् नानात्वम् इत्युक्ते डिफरेन्सेस् भेद जीवानां बुद्धेः वृत्तिभेदात् यद्यपि ईश्वर सृष्ट निर्मितानि वस्तूनि एक विधानि तथापि नानात्वस्य अनुभवः भवति। जीवानां कृते एकस्मिन् विषये जीवानां बहूनां जीवानां कृते बहुविधा भोग्यत्व बुद्धिः जायते इत्यर्थः। अतः वस्तुनः भोग्यत्वम् ईश्वरेण सृष्ट वस्तुनः जगतः भोग्यत्वं बुद्धिभेदात् नानात्वं नानाविधः भवति इति इष्यते ज्ञायते। Every object being eka prakara, one type, eka vida, but the same object from the standpoint of the buddhi of the jiva, it differs. Object being same, but due to bhoktru devritti nanatva bhedat, bhoktru the vritti of the mind of the experiencer, based on that, and that vritti is countless, therefore nanatva bhedat bhaguda ishyate. Therefore the same vastu is experienced by different jivas in a different way. Generally can be categorized as into three. One is raga, other one is dvesha, other one is udasinatvam. Tadapi udaharanena uktamasti. Yata manim labdva kaschit janaha rishyati. Manim labdva manim prapya kaschit janaha manushyaha tushyati anandam anubhavati. कश्चित् जनः मणिम् अप्राप्य क्रुध्यति अलाभतः क्रुध्यति लाभात् कश्चित् जनः हृष्यति अलाभात् कश्चित् जनः क्रुध्यति अन्य जनः किं करोति विरक्तः भवति उदासीनः प्राप्तिः वा अप्राप्तिः वा मणिं प्राप्तुं न इच्छति अतः प्राप्तिः वा अप्राप्तिः वा तदुभयमपि तेषां कृते समानमेव। यद्यपि मणिं पश्यति तथापि इच्छा नास्ति। मणिं प्राप्य न तुष्यति मणिम् अप्राप्य वा न क्रुध्यति अतः विरक्तः। यथा भोग्य वस्तुनः मनेः एकत्वे अपि मनिः तु एकः एव मनिः तत्कृते त्रिविधः भोगः भोग अनुभवः यथा भवति तद्वत् यद्यपि ईश्वरेण सृष्टं जगत् एकमेव तथापि बुद्धिभेदात् जीवानां बुद्धिभेदात् बुद्धेः वृत्तिभेदात् नानात्व अनुभवः अस्ति भोगभेदे भोग्यत्वं कारणम् इति उच्यते. Up to this we have seen nothing new. Acharya gives an example of money, some precious money. Money being one. Money Ishvara Srishtam. Money. Money. One person gaining that is happy. Other person, because he did not gain, therefore he is angry, kupyati. Other person is neither have raga for the money nor dvesha for the money. He is neutral. The vastu, the object being same. Therefore, three types of responses. Priyam, apriyam, upekshya, udasina. Similarly, Jagat also can be based on the perception of the jivas, experience of the jivas, how they experience based on the perception, experience. It can be priya or apriya or upekshya. That he says in the next shloka. So jiva srishti and ishvara srishti. Ishvara srishtam jagat, jiva srishtam jagat. The vastu doesn't undergo any change because it is ishvara srishtam. Money created by Ishvara doesn't undergo any change, it being what it is. But when it becomes bhogya vastu for jiva, that money, when it is looked upon as an object of enjoyment, that vastu, that money, elicits three types of responses. Labhataha rishyati, alabhataha kupyati, kaschidanaha viraktaha san asti. Vastuhu tu ekavidaha eva, किंतु जीवानां बुद्धेः वृत्तिभेदात् नानात्व अनुभवः यथा भवति तद्वत् जगतः विषये अपि. Therefore, it is created by jiva. That is adjectives. Some visheshanas are added to jagat. Jagat being what it is. The visheshana is added. That is the addition of the jiva. Visheshana to that is added by jiva, not Ishvara. Meaning, Jagat is not looked upon as it is created by the Lord. Jiva colors it nicely, and then there is a anubhava, a certain perception, certain experience. So that experience, different types of experience, jnanatva bhoga, different types of experiences. But these experiences can be classified generally into three. Priyaha, apriyaha, upekshaha iti. So that he says in the next shloka, let us see it. Priyo priya upekshyaschetyakhara manighasthrayaha.
प्रियो
प्रियो प्रियो
प्रियोपेक्षेत्याकारामणिगस्त्रयः
सृष्टा जीवैरीश सृष्टं रूपं साधारणं त्रिषु.
सृष्टा जीवैः सृष्टं रूपं साधारणं त्रिषु
मनिः क्रियते, मनिः सृज्यते केन? ईश्वरेण. ईश्वरेण सृष्टम् इदं कार्यं. किं तत्? मणिः. मणिः ईश्वरेण सृष्टं कार्यमणिः. ईश्वरेण सृष्टः कार्यमणिः. Mani is Money is created, precious stone created by the Lord. That is Ishvara Srishta. Jiva Srishtaha, Jiva Srishtaha. Why Jiva Srishtaha? Because this shloka given Srishta, Srishtaha, Jivaihi Srishtaha, Jivaihi Srishtaha, Jiva Srishtaha, Jiva Srishtaha, Vedaha Dashitaha, Akara Vedaha. Because Jiva created Bhogyamani, Ishvara created Karyamani. The same Karyamani is converted into Bhogyamani by the Jiva. Bhogya, the object of experience. Yet यः कार्यमणिः ईश्वरेण सृष्टः यः कार्यमणिः सः एव जीवानां कृते भोग्यमणिः भवति. It is Jiva Srishtam. Jiva creates Bhogyamani out of Karyamani. Therefore, the two types of Manihi, Karyamanihi, Bhogyamanihi. Jiva Ishvara Srishtaha Manihi, Karyamanihi, Tattu Eka Vidaha Eva. It is Eka Prakaraha Eva. That is only one type. Ishvara Srishta Karya Manihi. Tatra Tasmin Karya Mano Gopi Visheshaha Nasti. Ishvarena Srishtam Vastu Ekameva. Ekasmin Eva Vastuni. Ishvarena Srishtam Srishta Mano Ekasmin Mano Ekasmin Vastuni Eva Jivena Srishtam Bhogya Manihi. Bhogya Manihi Akara Vedena Trivida Akara Vedena Trividha Bhavati. Akaraha Utparitaha. Trishtaha. By whom? By Jiva. Trayaha Akaraha Vedaha. Akaraha Vedaha Trayaha Vedaha Jivena Srishtaha. Teke Priyaha Apriyaha Upekshaha iti. Akara Vedaha Trayaha Akaraha Vedaha Jivaihi Srishtaha Utparitaha. Three types of money created by Jiva. Money being one, created by the Lord. The same money now, on that, the money, Jiva creates three types. Ishvara Srishta Mano Kopi Visheshaha Nasti. Whereas Bhogya Mano, Jiva Srishta Bhogya Mano, Visheshanani Santi. What are the Visheshana? One is Priyaha. Money being the same thing, it becomes Priyaha Manihi. Kaschana for some people. For some people, Keshanjananam Krute, Manihi Priyaha Manihi Bhavati. For other people, Apriyaha Manihi. And that is third response also, third category. Upeksha Manihi. Manehe Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, Upekshatvam iti Trayaha Akaraha. Tadeva Manigha Trayaha. Manigaha Trayaha. Mano Gacchati iti Manigaha. The object in the money. All the attributes are added. Three types of attributes. All the three attributes are in the object money. This is the value addition by the Jiva. Bhagavan did not add. Bhagavan created only the money. The same money becomes Priyaha Manihi, Apriyaha Manihi, Upeksha Manihi. Bhagavan did not create. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. Name Dveshyaha asti, name Priyaha asti. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. Bhagavan is Samaha for all. Because of Jivanam, Jivasya, or Jivanam, Mohat, Jiva Moha, Jivaha, Mohena, Jivaha, Mohena. The three types of attributes adds to the vastu, the object created by the Lord. This is the value addition. Yaha manihi nirvisheshaha. Saha manihi danim savisheshaha bhavati. Manihi ishvarena srishtaha manihi nirvisheshaha manihi. The same money now becomes savishesha. Is endowed with attributes, three types of attributes in general. It is added by the jiva. It is a value addition by the jiva. It is added by jiva, and therefore the money he become priyaha manihi kesham krite anyesham krite apriyaha and aparajananam krite upekshaha. So the three colors are added to the money by the buddhi of the jiva. This is jiva srishtaha. Jivaihi srishtaha iti akara vedaha. त्रयः आकाराः भेदाः आकाराः मणिगास्त्रयः त्रयः आकाराः मणिगाः जीवैः सृष्टाः त्रयः आकाराः ते के प्रियः अप्रियः उपेक्षः इति किन्तु ईश्वरेण सृष्टं रूपं तत्तु साधारणमेव तत्तु साधारणम् ईश्वरेण सृष्टम् ईश्वरेण उत्पादितं रूपं तु समानमेव साधारणम् इस् समानम् that's why samoham sarvabhuteshu. Ishvara did not create different types of the money for different types of people. Money being what it is, Jagat being what it is, created. It is samam sadharanam, samanam for all the people. Therefore, trishu, priyadishu. Trishu is priyadishu. So, Ishvara srishtam rupam, trishu priyadishu, priya, priya, upekshya, ityeteshu sadharanam samanam bhavati. It is common to all the three types of responses. So trishu isha srishtam sadharanam samanam bhavati. Because of raga dvesha of the jiva, that sadharanam jagat sadharanaha manihi becomes priyaha apriyaha upekshaha. The sadharanam jagat, this jagat is when it is looked at objectively, Ishvara created objectively. He has objective approach to the jagat. The jiva has got subjective approach. Therefore, the jagat being what it is becomes priyam jagat, apriyam jagat, upekshyam jagat. Yata trayah akaraha manigaha tadvat trayah akaraha jagat vishayapi jagati gacchati. You can say jagat, jagadaha, trayah. Three types of responses with regard to the Ishvara Srishta Jagat also. So that Acharya beautifully says. So therefore, it is not created different types of Jagat for different types of people. Jagat being one, the same Jagat because of the perceptual differences of the Jiva becomes three. Three is a general classification. So that therefore Jagat experiences the perceptual differences caused by the jiva. That is the value addition by jiva. The visheshana, the vishesha added to the Ishvara Srishtam. That is by the jiva. That is due to raga dvesha. That's Acharya says here. Now the tika. Ke bhoga beda uparaktaha jiva srishtaha. Akara bedaha iti ataha aha. Ke bhoga beda uparaktaha. Bhoga bede bhogyatvam karanam. The difference in enjoyment, different enjoyments for which the karanam, the cause is the bhogyatvam. Bhogyatvam attributed to the jagat is the cause for the differences in the enjoyment, the perception of the jagat. So Bhoga Beda Uparaktaha Ke Kaha Jivasishtaha. Kaha Akara Vedaha. The different forms, Akara Vedaha, different forms. Different forms, Jagat being only one. Different forms, created by whom? Different forms created by Jiva. And they differ. Why? Because of Bhoga Veda, because of the difference in the way they are enjoyed. That is being explained here. Kete Bhoga Vedaha, Kete Akara Vedaha, Bhoga Vedena Uparaktaha, Jivasishtaha, Akara Vedaha, Ke iti Prichet. That is explained here. What are the different forms created by Jiva due to the perceptual differences? Difference in their enjoyment, experience of experience. Due to the difference in their experience, the three forms are created by Jiva, three different forms, Akara Veda, due to perceptual differences. That is explained here. What are they? That is explained here. Priyaha iti. Mani nishtaha, mano nishta. Nitaram sitihi mani nishtaha, referring to the person. Mano nishta, yeshante. Mani nishtaha, priyatva, अप्रियत्व उपेक्ष्यत्व लक्षणाः आकारभेद आकारभेदा जीवैः सृष्टौ त्रिषु अपि साधारणम् अनुस्यूतं यत् मणिरूपं तत् ईश्वर निर्मितम् इत्यर्थः तत् ईश्वर निर्मितम् तो मणिनिष्ठाः the बहुव्रीहि compound मणिनिष्ठाः प्रियत्व उपेक्ष्य लक्षणाः that is Manishtaha, the different forms, Akara Vedaha, the different forms. The different forms are created by whom? It is Jiva Srishta, created by Jiva. Akara Vedaha Tattu Jivaihi Srishtaha. Akara Vedaha can be read separately. Akara Veda Jivaihi is that. Akara Vedaha, the different forms. The different forms in the form of Priyatvam, the status of being that which is loved, Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, like, dislike, and Upeksha, indifference. So Akara Vedaha, that is that Jiva Srishtaha, this Akara Vedaha, created by the Jiva, which is characterized by these different forms, Akara Vedaha, with regard to the money, with regard to the the person who has got the Nishtaha, Mano Nishtaha, that is that which is seen to be, that which is existing in the money, the precious stone. Mano Nishtaha, that existing. Mano Nishtaha means not here Nitaram Satihi. Mano Sthitaha ityartaha. That which exists in the money. Money being one, but there are three things existing in the money. Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, Upekshyatvam. The three things exist in the money. And this Akara Veda, the different forms in the form of Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, Upekshyatvam exist in the money, which is Srishta by whom? Srishtaha, created by Jivaha. So Jivaihi Srishtaha, Mani Sthitaha, that is Mano Tishtati. Mano Tishtati, Mani Nishtaha, not Nitaram Sitihi. You can take it as Mano Nishtaha is that which existing the money, not Bhaguvrihi. Mano Nishtaha, it's Bhagavrihi in fact, yes. Mano Nishtaha. Akara Vedaha, the three different forms of experience which existing in the money. The three different forms in the form of or which is characterized by Lakshanaha, Priyatvam, Apriyatvam, Prekshyatvam, which are created by Jivaihi Srishtaha. So Jivaihi Srishtaha, Akara Vedaha, Manonishtaha, that is Trayaha. Whereas in the Trishu, in the same three different forms of perception of the Jiva, Sadharanam Anusyutam. There is one Samana, Sadharana, the common thing is there, Anusyutam, which is inherent in the three. What is that? That is only money, pure money. That is created by Ishvara. Tat Ishvara Nirmitam. Yat Mani Rupam. Tat Ishvara Rupam. That is created by the precious stone is created by Ishvara. On that, Trishu Akara Vedaha, Priyatvadi Lakshanaha Akara Vedaha, Manonishtaha, Priyatvadi Akara Vedaha, Jiva Sishtaha, Jivagi Sishtaha, they are created by the Jiva. So therefore, three types of are created, three types of money. Money being only one thing, but three types of monies are created. So therefore, the author says, therefore, Ishvarena Srishtam Idam Jagat, Idam Dvaitam Jagat, Jivena, Jivanam Krute, Bhogyatva, Jivanam Bhogyatva Anusarena, Bhogavidaha Bhavanti, Trayaha Bhavanti, otherwise. So Ishvara Srishte Vastu Swarupe, यद्यपि समाने भवति तथापि प्रियत्वादयः विद्यन्ते कः कारणं जीवः एव कारणं that is जीवनिर्मितं द्वैतम्. And Acharya further gives another example. What is the example? Let us read the next shloka. Bharya snusha nananda cha yata mate tyanekatha.
Bharya
भार्या
Snushananda
स्नुषा
Devyatha
प्रतियोगी दिया योषित विद्यते न स्वरूपतः.
Pratiyogya
धिया
Yoshit
योषित् भिद्यते
Vidyate
न
Svarupatah.
जीव सृष्टाः जीवेन सृष्टाः आकार भेदाः सन्ति. ईश्वरेण सृष्टाः आकाराः विद्यन्ते. तदर्थम् अन्य उदाहरणमपि आचार्यः अत्र प्रदर्शयति. योषित् इत्युक्ते वनिता महिला इत्यर्थः. योषित् प्रतियोगिदिया भार्या स्नुषा ननन्दा याता माता च इति विद्यते न स्वरूपतः. योषित् woman, the same woman who plays different roles. Bharya, the woman being one, but the same woman for Bhartuhu krite Bharya bhavati. Snusha daughter-in-law. Therefore Shushuranam krite Snusha bhavati. Similarly Nanandru, sister-in-law. Yata is husband's brother's wife. Then Mata, of course, mother Janani. Iti 5 types of roles played by the same woman. Yoshit being Eka Stri tu Eka eva. Kintu Eka eva Stri Vidyate. Or in the form of Bharya, Snusha, Nananda, Yata, Mata, iti Aneka diya Pratiyogi diya. Pratiyogina dihi. Taya Pratiyogina diya. Pratiyogi diya. The word Pratiyogi diya is important. Pratiyogi diya योषित विद्यते किंतु स्वरूपतः न विद्यते. प्रतियोगी दिया means with regard to the buddhi of the individual. With regard to the buddhi of the individual. सा एव स्त्रीः पत्युः कृते भार्या, पत्युः कृते भार्या, श्वशुरस्य कृते स्नुषा, सा एव ननन्दा, सा एव याता इति, सा एव माता इति यथा मन्यते तद्वत् यथा अनेकविधत्वं दृश्यते एकस्यां स्त्रियां तद्वत्. That's called pratiyogi, pratiyoginaha. Differences due to the individual buddhi. Pratiyoginam buddhehe vedaha ekasyam striyam vedaha bhagavidaha akaraha yatha bhavanti tadvat. Kintu stri tu swarupatah eka eva. But akara vedaha jataha pratiyoginam buddhehe krute. Pratiyogi diya yoshiti vidyate. All the forms are created. Everything is created by the Lord in the Jagat, but Veda is brought about by Jiva. For that, the example is given. In the Yoshit created by Jiva, but Yoshit is created by Ishvara, Shamita. And in the Yoshit by Jiva, the Visheshanam is added. An argument is added. For husband adds the Visheshanam Bharya. Similarly, the Shashuraha, the father-in-law, mother-in-law adds the Visheshanam to the Yoshit Snusha, daughter-in-law. Similarly, for the son adds the Visheshanam Mata. Similarly, Nananda, iti, all the attributes are added to the same woman, the same Yoshita, the same Yoshita. Now here, Pratiyogi diya Yoshiti vidyate, here an objection is raised, the next shloka. So therefore, ekasmin vastuni jivaha anekan vedan sujati. By this example, we can know Yoshita यद्यपि स्वरूपतः न विद्यते किंतु प्रतियोगी दिया विद्यते योषित विद्यते अनेकदा विद्यते यथा भार्या एका स्त्री भार्या स्नुषा ननंदा याता माता इति एका श्री वर्तते तद्वत्. How it is possible? How can the one and the same person can be many? That is the objection. That in the next shloka. Before that, we will read the tika. Uttam jiva srishta akara vedam udaharanam antarena spashtayati. Another example. Antarena. Another example. Already one example given. Many example. Ishvara karyam manihi. Here now, in this example, Ishvara karya yoshita. Ishvara karyaha manihi. That is the previous example. Now Ishvara karya yoshita. Ishvara srishta. Srishta yoshita. Ishvara srishto yoshiti yata anekada pratiyogiriya akara vedaha bhavanti tadvat ekasmin jagati eva vividaha akara vedaha jivaha anayanti. Now, the Tikakara says, Spashtayati. The author makes it very clear, Spashtayati. Through another example, Udaharanantarena, Anya Udaharanena, Udaharanam Antarena. Through another example. Uktam, what is Uktam? What is said? That is, Ishvara, the Jiva Srishta Dvaitam. That is, Uktam, that is explained further through another example. Jiva Srishta Akara Vedam. The Vedam, the difference of forms created by the Jiva, the same things. The thing being one, but Jiva creates different forms. Ishvara creates only one Jagat, whereas Jiva creates many worlds, many Jagat. The world of perceptions. The world of perceptions. We don't perceive the world as it is. The world being what it is, perceived by different people in different ways. Therefore, they think the world is, well, according to Jiva, the world is not one, it is many. Because due to perceptual differences. Therefore, Jiva Srishta Akara Vedam. Vedam, the differences. The difference in the forms. Akara Vedaha. Not Srishta by Ishvara, Srishta by Jiva. That Udaharanena Spashtayati, the author explains with another example. Yata Bharya iti. Nanda is Bhartru Bhagini. Bhartuhu Bhagini is Nanda. Yata is Devara Patni. Devaraha, Devru is a Pratipadikam. Deva, Devaro, Devaraha. Therefore, Devaraha. Devara Patni. Deva, Devaro, Devaraha, Devru. It's a Pratipadikam. Like Itra Shabda, it's familial noun base. Devru Patni. Yata. Pratiyogi Diya. Pratiyogi Diya, Bhartru, Shvashuradi, Lakshana, Pratiyogi, Gocharaya. Diya is Buddhya, that is Gocharaya. Pratiyogi, that is from the standpoint of the individual's perception, Buddhi. Buddhya, Gocharaya, Buddhya, Tattat, Upeksha ityartaha. From there, Tattat, Apeksha, sorry, not Upeksha, Tattat, Apekshya. From the standpoint of the individual. From the standpoint of the individual, there are perceptual differences. Therefore, Pratiyogi Buddhya, Pratiyogi Gocharaya Buddhya, Tattat Apekshya Ityartaha. Tattat Apekshya is referring to the perspective views of the individual. Vidyate, Yoshite Vidyate, Buddhya Vidyate, Pratiyogi, Diya Pratiyogi, Buddhya Vidyate. That is Swarupataha. Not Swarupataha, not really, but it is Akara Veda. So therefore, it is in the mind of the Jiva. It is in the mind of the Jiva, the perceptual difference. That is what the author says. Now, to make it that more clear, the author, the next shloka, he raises an objection and answers. Important objection. It's a good objection also. Vastu being one, Yoshita being one, money being one. How can you look upon the money as three? How can you look upon this three being one can be looked upon as many? Sri is only one, woman is only one. How can she be looked upon as different? It is possible. It is not possible. It is not possible, the Purvapakshi says. We say it is possible. It is possible. So now the objection is right and the answer will be given by the author, the next shloka. Now the objection in the following shloka. Nanu jnanani vidyantam akarastu na vidyate.
ननु ज्ञानानि विद्यन्तामाकारस्तु न भिद्यते
योषिद्वपुष्यति शयो दृष्टो जीवनिर्मितः
योषि वपुष्यति शयो न दृष्टो जीवनिर्मितः
पूर्व उक्त विषये जीवानां कृते जीव सृष्टाः आकार भेदाः सन्ति इति यत् उक्तं पूर्वं तद्विषये आक्षेपः क्रियते. Akshepah, objection is raised. The Yoshit created by Ishvara. On that Yoshit, the attributes are added by the Jiva. Yoshit, Eka Eva Yoshit. There is only one woman, only one object, which is Nirvisheshaha. No attributes. So on that attributeless object, No attributes in the object. On the attributeless object, attributes are added. How can you add? That is the objection. How can you say the attributes are added to the only that object which is only one, which is attributeless? There are no attributes seen in the object. Iti Purvapakshi says. So object being one, money being one. Money will have attributes, that is different. Money color will be there, weight. We are not talking about that. Money being what it is. But how can it can be different monies? How can Jiva add attributes to the money? That is the question. How can Jiva add attributes to the Yoshita? Priyaha, Apriyaha, Upeksha, three attributes are there in the money. Therefore, Maniha, three Visheshanani Santi. We say, but Purvapakshi say no, no attributes are seen. Where is the attribute of Priyatvam in the money? Where is the attribute of Apriyatvam or Upekshatvam? How do you say three attributes are added to the money? There is no Priyatvam, Apriyatvam or Upekshatvam. In fact, you cannot add the attributes of the object. No adjectives are added to the object externally. Purvapakshi says, externally you cannot add any attributes to the object. Jiva doesn't have that ability. Jiva doesn't enjoy the ability to add any. Only the perceptual differences are there. Because only perceptual differences are there, then how can you say the attributes are added to the money? Manigaha, that is adjective, that is not proper. Because they are not located in the money. Where is the location? What is the locus of this Visheshana? What is the locus of Priyatvam? What is the locus of Abritam? Where in the money? Where is the locus of Upekshatvam? So therefore, since I could not find the Priyaha, Apriyaha, Upekshaha in the money, and you say it is Manigaha, located in the money, how do you say? So therefore it is not acceptable. Iti Purvapakshi says, therefore Purva, the whole shloka is Purvapakshis. So Ekasmin Mano Katam Akara Vedaha Visheshanaha Visheshanani Santi. Ekasyam Mahilayam Mahilayam Katam Akara Vedaha Sambhavanti. Ekasya Mahilayam Yam Mama Bharya, Yam Mama Snusha, Yam Mama Mata Iti Pratyogidiya ज्ञातुं शक्यते किन्तु तथापि स्त्री तो एका एव स्त्री ज्ञेयभूतायां स्त्रियां कोऽपि आकारभेदः न उत्पन्नः भवति न दृश्यते ज्ञानानि भिद्यताम् that is what Acharya says here ज्ञानानि भिद्यन्ताम् ज्ञानानि Vidyantam, Lotlakara, Vidyantam. Jnanani is the Jnanam with regard to your Yoshit. Yoshit is three Vishaya, Kani Jnanani. Vidyantam, let there be differences, perceptional differences, let there be that. Jnanani, Vidyantam. Vedam, Trapnuvantu. There is no objection. But Akara means a form. The real form, what it is, the Yoshita, the woman has got certain form, shape, color. That is Akara Beda. Akara hatu na vidyate. That is Swarupaha. Swarupataha na vidyate, Yoshita. Jnanani vidyantam. Jnanani is Anubhava. Anubhava Vedaha Bhavantu. Anubhava Vedaha Bhavantu. किंतु आकार भेदः नास्ति न विद्यते कुत्र योषित वपुषी इज बॉडी योषितः वपुः योषित योषिद्वपुः तस्मिन् योषिद्वपुषि अतिशयः भेदः अतिशयः is that is extra fittings additions अतिशयः भेदः न दृश्यते न दृष्टः न जीवसृष्टः अतिशयः that additions अतिशयः न दृष्टः योषिद्वपुषि. We don't see any extra fittings additions in the woman, in the yoshit, in the mahila. Jnanani vidyantam. Let the perception differ. Let there be perceptual differences. Jnanani vidyantam. Jnanani anubhavaha vidyantam. Anubhava vedaha bhavantu. Let there be anubhava vedaha. But the person is same. Akaraha tu na vidyate. Person is same. When looked upon as Bharyananda, Susha Mata, etc. The Yoshita is one and perceptions are different. We don't question the perceptual differences. That is fine. But Akara is to na vidyate. The form doesn't undergo any change. What difference comes in the body of the woman when she looked upon as Mata, or Bharya, or Ananda, Asnusha? Yoshita Vapushi Atisheha na drishtaha. So Jiva Nirmitaha na drishtaha. The attributes, all the attributes, the physical attributes, do not change. No change is seen in their body. Attributes, physical attribute. What physical change in the woman, in the Yoshita? There is no any physical attribute change perceived in the body of the woman. Then how do you say three attributes are added? How do you say that priyaha, upekshaha iti in general? How do you say attributes are added to Yoshita? Perception may differ, but nothing happens to her. Yoshita vapushi na drishtaha. No atishaha na drishtaha. Vedaha na drishtaha. No change in her body. No change in her body when seen by different people. All people, they perceive the same form only. Therefore, there is no change in her body. So, Jiva Nirmitaha, therefore, Atishaha, Vedaha is not there at all. Then how do you say Jiva Srishtam? Then how do you say Jiva Srishtam Dvaitam? So, Striyaha Sharire, Ataha, Jiva Nirmitaha, Vedaha, Katam Bhavati, Katam Santi iti Vaktum Shakyate iti Akshepaha. Therefore, cannot be. It is the Purva Pakshi's Akshepa. Now, for that, before that, Tika. For that, Acharya answers the next shloka. Now, Tikakara says, Nanu, Yoshit Vishayani, Bharyas Nusha Itya, Adi Jnanani eva, Binnani Upalabhyante, Natu Tad Vishayabhutayaha, Yoshitaha Swarupe Vedaha Drishyate, Ataha Pratiyogidiya Yoshite Vidyate iti Uktam Ayam iti Uktam iti Uktam Ayuktam iti na shankate. Yatu Uktam tat Ayuktam. What is said, it is not proper. Iti Purva Pakshi shankate, he doubts, erases, because doubt is there, therefore only objection. Nanu Yoshit Vishayani Jnanani. That is knowledge of the woman as Bharya, Susha, etc. Yoshit Vishayani Jnanani. Bharya, Susha, Ityadi Jnanani eva Binnani. They are different. They differ. They are obtained differently. The knowledge of woman as wife, etc., that is different. Obtained as different. Obtained differently. But Natu Tad Vishya Bhutayaha Yoshita Swarupi Veda Drishyate. But there is no Swarupa Veda in the Yoshita. That is Tadvishya Bhutaya, I mean that object of knowledge, that is Yoshita Swarupe, in the Swarupa of the woman who is the object of knowledge, there no difference is seen. Therefore, Pratiyogi Buddhya, due to the difference in the perceiver, perceptual differences of the perceivers, yoshiti vidyate. Iti, what you say, it is not proper from the standpoint of the knower. From the standpoint of the knower, the woman differs. Iti, what you say is not yuktam. Iti yatu uktam tat na yuktam ayuktam iti shankate. Therefore, only he says nanu iti. For that, the answer, the next shloka, we will read, but we'll see the shloka in detail in the next class. Maivam mam samayi yoshit kachidanya manomagi.
मैवं
मैवं
मांसमयी
मयि
योषित
योषित
काचिदन्या
काचिदन्या
मनोमयी
मनोमयि
Mam samaya abedhepi vidyate hi manomagi.
मांसमय्या भेदे
मांसमय्याभेदेऽपि विद्यते हि
विद्यते हि
मनोमयि
मनोमयी
Mayi is mayat pratyaya. Mamsa plus tadita pratyaya mayat. Annamaya, pranamaya. But here Srilinga, therefore mayi. Mamsa mayi yoshit. Qualifying. Adjective. Visheshana to yoshit. Similarly, manomayi. So therefore two types of Acharya beautifully explains. When the Purva Pakshi raises question, he say ma evam. No, it is not like that. Why you say? There are two types of yoshit. One is mamsamayi yoshit. Other one is manomai yoshit. There is only one woman externally who is made of flesh, blood, etc. That's mamsamayi. Kena srishta mamsamayi yoshit ishwarena. Ishwarena srishta mamsamayi yoshit. Mamsamayi, therefore mamsamayi is concrete, it is tangible, mamsamayi. Mamsamayi. But there is another woman created, not by the Lord, but by Jiva in the mind, which is Manomayi Yoshit. How do you say Manomayi Yoshit? Externally, it's Mamsamayi. Then Manomayi Yoshit, how can Jiva create her own image, own woman, own object of perception? Jiva has to perceive only what is created by the law. That Jiva has got any extra will in perceiving what Ishvara created. In fact, it's an important thing you need to understand. We don't really perceive a thing as it is. That is the truth. We don't perceive any object as it is. Then how do we perceive the object which is outside? How does the perception of object take place? The perception of any object doesn't take place the moment you perceive it. You perceive, your indriyas perceive the object, and the mind creates a form of the object in the form of the vritti. In the mind, the form of the object is created, and you perceive that alone, that vritti alone you perceive. Therefore, you don't really perceive the external object, any external object. What we see only the vritti alone we perceive. That is why most of the time our perceptions go wrong, because we see only what we want to see, not what it is. So we see only the vritti of the mind. Therefore, the object which is outside is perceived in the form of the vritti, that is object inside. Object outside is obtained in the form of the vritti, a thought, that becomes the object inside. Then you perceive it. Therefore, you don't perceive the object, external object as it is. External object has to become internal object. How? In the form of vritti. Then you transact with the vritti. Then you transact with the external object. Therefore, it is transaction with the vritti of the object, not really with the object. Every object has to enter me to relate with it. Similarly, the Yoshit, Mamsamayi Yoshit being there, that is converted into Manomaya Yoshit in the mind. Then the transaction begins. Therefore, the Manomaya Yoshit has three attributes: Priyaha, Priyaha, Upekshaha. Not Mamsamayi Yoshit. Mamsamayi Yoshit being what it is, created by Ishvara. But Manomaya Yoshit, that is how I perceive them. That is how the mind, the Mamsamayi Yoshit is perceived. Therefore, your objection is not valid. Jiva, this is how the knowledge of any object takes place. Even though Mamsamayi Yoshiti is there, that is Ishvara Srishta. But Manomaya is Jiva Srishta. Therefore, everything is perceived, since everything is perceived in the mind in the form of thought, Manomaya Yoshita also perceived in the form of the Amsamayi Yoshita also perceived in the form of Manomaya. Therefore, Manomaya Yoshita vidyate. Mamsamayi Yoshita na vidyate. Manomaya Yoshita vidyate eva. Money remains same at all the time, but the karyatvam, the Ishvara Srishta karya money doesn't change. But similarly, Yoshita remains same. Karya, Ishvara karyam, Yoshita, Ishvara karya, Yoshita, Ishvara Srishta money, he doesn't change. But in the buddhi of the perceiver, it changes because we perceive the object only in the buddhi and we react to it. Object being what it is, money being what it is, Yoshit being what it is, she is what it is. How can you bring about the differences? Because that is what that is what we perceive in our buddhi. And therefore, we classify the objects as priyaha, priyaha, upeksha, depending on our perception. Therefore, mamsamayyaha abede api, mamsamayya abedaha, tasyaha mamsamayyaha abede api, manomayi vidyate eva. So, manomayi yoshite vidyate. Yoshita obtained in the mind differs. Yoshita obtained in the mind, it is different. Therefore, Manomayi Rupaha has got three attributes, not the Mansamayi Yoshita. Manomayi Yoshita has attributes. We answer. That is what the author says, Vijarna Muni. We will discuss in detail in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಶರಣಜಿ.
Dhanyavadaha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Dhanyavada.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಶರಣ್.
Dhanyavada. Sushila ji, what happened? What's the result?